So soccer is the most popular sport in the world, and unfortunately, it's being overrun by greedy teams, greedy players, and greedy owners. And that's why I believe that FIFA, which is the Federation Internationale de Football Association, should create a spending cap so teams can't overspend. Alright, so the overview is FIFA Fair Play, which is a system they have in place now, isn't cutting it. Not having a spending cap, ruins the competitiveness of the leagues in every country. It cripples the poorer teams in each league, and it hurts the young players' careers. Alright, so FIFA Fair Play. FIFA Fair Play was instated in the 2010 and 2011 seasons, and in these past 3-ish or so years, it hasn't made much of a difference. And basically what it is teams can't spend on players more than they earn in revenue each year. And a simple loophole to this is player wages and contracts, such as one of the big names this summer that was sold was Gareth Bale from Tottenham Hotspur in England to Real Madrid in Spain. And Real Madrid bought him for roughly €100 million, which may seem like a lot, but when you break it down, it's around €15 million for over 6 years. So that frees up a lot of space to spend even more on more players. And it's unfair to the less talented teams because just like in a common sport like football in America, the less talented teams obviously have less fans, less money, so they can't buy and spend as much. This is a chart that breaks down the team earnings in the Barclays Premier League in England, which is arguably the most famous league in the world. And as you can see, even from first to second place, Manchester United against Man City, they made almost €100 million more. And that doesn't even begin to say how much like Wigan made. They made a ton less than Man U. So they obviously wouldn't be able to spend as much on players. Alright, and the FIFA Fair Play leads to a lack of competition. In each league across the world, there are 2 or 3 wealthy teams that just dominate, and it leads to blowout games. A good example of this is about 2 weeks ago, Manchester City FC played Norwich, and Man City is the top of the table team, while Norwich is middle of the pack, and they beat them 7-0, just flat out. Like, started putting in their subs and embarrassed them. And that leads to lopsided standings. One of the biggest culprits of this is the Bundesliga, which is the German league. And these are the standings for last year. And Bayern Munich, which is obviously the wealthy and best team, their stats clearly show how dominant they were. They won 29 out of 34 games. They scored 98 goals and only gave up 18. So their goal differential was plus 80. And they racked up 91 points throughout the season. And you can tell Borussia Dortmund, which is the second wealthiest and most dominant team, they even blew them out of the water. They beat them by almost 30 points in the standings, which is just unheard of. And to further show this, I have some of the records. Bayern Munich last year broke or tied 24 Bundesliga records in just one season. The old record for most points in a season was 81. This year they got 91. And for those of you that don't know, the points in soccer are 3 points are awarded for a win, none are awarded for a loss, and 1 is awarded for a tie. They beat Borussia Dortmund, who was in second, by 25 points. The old record was 16. They crushed the old wins record. They won 29 out of 34 games, as opposed to the old one was 25 out of 34. And their goal differential, which is goals scored against goals allowed, they demolished the old record. It used to be 64 more goals were scored than allowed. They made it 8. Alright, and the next problem with FIFA Fair Play is it doesn't help the poorer teams. These poor teams are consistently relegated from the better leagues in each country. Relegated means like the best league, which in England would be the Barclays Premier League. The bottom 3 teams get relegated or kicked out, so to speak, to the league below them, and the 3 better teams in that league move up and take their place. And then almost every year, those 3 teams just get booted right back down. So they're just in a merry-go-round between the 2 leagues. Poor teams lose all their talent, such as future franchise players. The next slide will break that down. And the losing teams lose lose fans, which leads to a loss of revenue. And like I said, it's a never-ending cycle, because if you don't have fans, you don't have money. If you don't have money, you can't buy players. And if you don't have players, you don't have fans. And it just keeps going around and around. A good example of this is FC Porto, which is actually a pretty good team in the Portuguese league, but they don't even compare to some of the teams in England or Germany or Italy or Spain. And in the past 2 years, they've lost all of these big-name players, some of them being under 23 years old, which is a potential franchise player. So they've lost all this potential talent, which means they lose potential fans, potential revenue, which means they might begin to drop in the standings. And then young players suffer because of FIFA fair play. A good example of this is Jack Wilshere. He was bought by Arsenal FC, and he's only 23 now, and he is constantly in the headlines for partying at night and stuff because of his big salary now that he has from Arsenal. And now he's been dropped. He doesn't even start any of their games. Young players are bought by bigger teams and never see the field. One of these is, an example of this is Xherdan Shaqiri. He used to play for FC Basel in the Swiss Super League. Now he was bought by the team I mentioned before, Bayern Munich. And he went from playing every minute of every game and dominating the Swiss league to only playing 6 out of the 12 games so far this season in league play, and 2 out of the 4 Champions League seasons this year. So he's cut his numbers in half, so he's losing. He's only hurt by this because he doesn't get as much playing time. He's never going to develop into the player he could have been. Another example of this is the Chelsea squad crisis. In the past few years, they haven't won the Barclays Premier League, so their owner has just been on a spending spree. And he buys more and more and more offensive players, trying to score more and more goals, and it ends up hurting the younger players, because some of these names, Frank Lampard, Andre Schürrle, Ramirez, Juan Mata, Oscar, Eden Hazard, Willian, Kevin De Bruyne, Marco Van Ginkel, Demba Ba, Fernando Torres, and Samuel Eto'o. Out of those 12 players, they're all competing for the same 6 spots, and most of them, Oscar, Mata, Hazard, Schürrle, De Bruyne, they're all younger than 25 years old, so they're potential young players that may not see the spotlight that they hope to see because they're on this team competing for spots and they never see the field. Alright, so my idea for a solution is, obviously the first step would be to create an attainable spending cap that would discourage heavy spending and overpaying for big name players such as Gareth Bale, like I said before, by Real Madrid. So I think they should make a spending cap of around €100 million, because some of the poorer teams, like Wigan, like I mentioned, they made roughly 80 million, so they could almost reach that 100 million. And a team like Real Madrid that made 500 million last year, they would only be able to spend up until that 100 million. So they wouldn't be able to buy all the talent from all the worst teams. And also, after you make that spending cap, you should it should be say after Real Madrid spent their €100 million. After that, they should only be able to get players by trading players. That way, it filters talent throughout the leagues and it keeps it dispersed throughout every team, so it doesn't lead to these dominant teams and dominant clubs in each country. Questions?
Because FIFA is an international organisation, do you think a spending cap would actually be easily
put in place?
Yeah.
It might, because you have to take into account the whole, I can't think of the word, transferring, euro to American dollars to, that sort of thing. So it would take a lot of math that I may not be qualified to do, but I think if they put the time and effort in, I feel like they could put a salary cap into place, even if it varies per league.
What's the conversion, euro to dollar?
I know the euro is worth a lot more. I went to Spain my senior year of high school, which was 2 years ago, and I tried to convert $200 American into euros, and I only got 140 or 160. So I know that the euro is worth a lot more than the American dollar. I don't know exact numbers.
I think it's $1 $1.33.
Yeah, you 1.5.
Yeah, it changes every day.
Do you liken this to maybe baseball or NBA, the salary cap kind of thing? Is this a similar thing you're proposing?
A little bit. It's just more difficult because of because like Matt said, it varies country to country. It's not just like in baseball, these 32 or whatever teams there are, they have to trade amongst themselves, but like it goes from Spain to Portugal to England to Italy to all these countries, so it makes it a little more difficult there, because there are hundreds and hundreds of teams, not just 32 that you would be able to scout or buy, so to speak.
Okay, so it's not, I mean, here usually the team is down, but then somebody comes in and buys them, and if they've got a lot of money, they'll
Oh yeah,
they'll
that
throw it
happens
in.
too. Mhm.
But, and that there, but it's gotta be scattered, because
Yeah,
obviously there's too many.
that's where the whole problem comes into play. Like Manchester City used to be like a middle of the pack team, and then an oil tycoon came and bought them, and now they just spend millions and millions of euros each year buying the best players, and now they're one of the dominant teams in the world. It happens all over the place.
Anything else? Thank you.